Howdy folks, imagine working full-time, studying full-time for your final year of university, all of that while preparing for the rigorously infamously difficult CFA Level 1 exam. And all of that not just to pass, but to score in the top 10% of test takers that year. Sounds made up, like, I don't know, like getting a speeding ticket on the Don Valley Parkway on a Monday morning. Well, I did that. Obviously not the ticket, but I did complete the exam. And today I'm gonna share with you how I did that, and also I'm gonna share with you some tips and tricks that will help you pass your CFA Level 1 exam. And that is coming from someone who passed the CFA Level 1 and the CFA Level 2 exams in the top 10% from the first attempt. Picture this, the pandemic just hit. There's a lineup outside every single grocery store. I work as a financial advisor juggling about 10 to 15 mortgage applications at any given time. All of that while studying for my fourth and final year of the Bachelor of Commerce-Finance program, acting as the president for the program club, while planning for my wedding in the summer.
But wait! There's more!
I also signed up for the CFA Level 1 exam. I was juggling so many things, I felt like I should have joined the circuit. So I made the mistake of studying from the CFA Institute textbook, which is about as fun as taking a fork and sticking it in your eye. Once I plowed through that material, I discovered Mark Meldrum for myself, and I gotta tell you, Mark Meldrum's material is gold. At the time, it was free on YouTube for the CFA Level 1. Now he's selling it for an affordable price. I have left his links in the description below. Now it's T-1, the day before the big day. So I take all my stuff. I take 2 calculators, 2 spare batteries, just in case the battery runs out on both of the calculators, clothes, some last minute notes. I line them up on the table. It looked like I was preparing for a deep space expedition, not an exam. Anyway, I go to sleep, I'm tossing and turning, thinking about the exam. I ended up getting maybe 3 or 4 hours of sleep that night. So I'm thinking, GG, that's it. But the show must go on. I arrive at the test center. Feels like an eternity in the waiting room. If you've never written the exam, I gotta tell you, it's like going through airport security. But worse. They made me roll down my socks, they made me pull up my pants, pull out my pockets, take off my engagement ring, and then I was seated. The actual exam was actually a blur for me. Now you might be thinking, the exam is over, the hard part is done, right? Well, you're very wrong there, because the hard part is waiting. Imagine ordering a cardboard cutout of Danny DeVito on Amazon, and then checking every couple of minutes to make sure that it was shipped. You know, just in case Danny decided to sprint over to your house. But then instead, it is actually being drop shipped from China by a teller pigeon that has to take a break every couple of feet because the cutout is obviously too heavy for the pigeon. I mean, come on, what were you thinking? So instead of getting your hilarious and solely sunny decor in a couple of days, you end up getting it in a couple of months. Well, those couple of months are nothing compared to the couple of months that you have to wait for the CFA exam result. Now, the big day finally arrived. April 13, 2021. I see an email in my inbox. My heart is pounding. I'm on the way to work. I open the email. Top 10%.
Bang bang, skeet skeet, nigga.
Naturally, I wanted to have a party and really celebrate that. But you know, COVID-19, lockdowns, mention a party and you'll end up in the gulags faster than you say CFA. So I just told my friends about it. Yay. But inside I felt like Carlos Matos right before the crash of Now you might be thinking, how did I manage to juggle all those things and get 10% on the CFA exam? Well, the answer is twofold. One, I turned into a study ninja, meaning I was studying after work, during breaks, and on the public transit. And at the time I was living in Toronto, so I got to miss many impromptu TTC performances. Number two, I learned how to organize my work a little bit better. So I learned how to sequence my work better, meaning that I scheduled everything that I needed to do in a way that I do the most important and the most urgent thing first. Number two, I prioritize. So instead of doing all the work, I ended up doing 80% of the work that is the most important. And you'll find that 20% of the work that you do doesn't necessarily need to be done, whether it's for work, for school, or for the exam. Number three, I started delegating. Sometimes delegating may be very straightforward, like if you have an extra application and you already have 10 applications and you say, I can't take one more, colleague A, could you please take over for me? But sometimes it's not as straightforward if you're in university and you have group mates that do not want to pull their weight, which is very common. I'm sure you know if you're studying or have studied in a university before. Now, I got really good at getting even these types of people to do their work. So I got really good at understanding group work dynamics, understanding the different types within a group, and being able to manage them accordingly. So I was able to delegate work even to the students that would normally not pull their weight in a group. And if you'd like me to make a video about that, please leave a comment down below. Now, in terms of studying, I'm sure you've already gotten a ton of advice, and I want to give you my 2 cents. And this is coming from someone who has passed the CFA Level 1 and the CFA Level 2 on the first try in the top 10%. Tip number 1, start studying about 4 to 3 months before the actual exam. Now, I started studying too early because I thought that me juggling all the things that I was juggling would affect my study time. I really regretted it because there's a point in your studying where you get it. You get 80%, you get 90% of what you need to understand, and this is enough to pass the exam. In the end of the day, you need to pass the exam, not get 100%. And the thing is, there's so much material in there that there is no way you're going to get 100%, so you end up chasing your tail and you end up getting stuck at, let's just say, 80% of the questions that you do. Tip number 2, I would only use the CFA Institute textbooks for reference. The books are well written, but they're written in a way that adds an extra difficulty to your studying. Use a prep provider. So I personally am a fan of Mark Meldrum because his explanations are really easy to understand. He has a great sense of humor, and his prices are affordable. Tip number 3, get a study buddy. Sometimes you may not understand some things, maybe sometimes they may not understand some things as well as the other person does. Having a study buddy allows you to have a tutor, a personal tutor, or be a tutor, which also very helpful to your studying. You'll find that you going through certain concepts, even if you end up being the tutor the entire time and you end up understanding everything, you still absorb the information much better. Tip number 4, get an advanced financial calculator and study the crap out of it. So when I started studying for the CFA Level 1 exam, I owned the BA2 Plus calculator, which is a great calculator. But then I purchased the BA2 Plus professional exam, and here is why. You don't know what kind of questions you're going to get, and you don't know what kind of functions you're going to have. The extra functions that you have in here are actually pretty valuable because here you can, for example, calculate the payback period, the discounted payback period. You can calculate the future, the net future value, as well as the correlation coefficient. And you know that those some of those formulas are pretty long. And so this calculator will save you a lot of time. Additionally, the BA2 Plus Professional makes it very easy for you to replace the battery in case you run out of battery during the exam, which would be a big problem if you have the BA2 Plus, just the regular BA2 Plus, and have to unscrew the entire back and replace the battery. Also, when it comes to the calculator, get really good at it. It's gonna save you time. 2 minutes per question is not a lot to begin with, so any second that you can gain is great. The calculator provides you with that opportunity. So when you're studying, make sure that you use the calculator. Don't use Excel spreadsheets. Don't use as much pen and paper. Try to get everything done on the calculator and make sure you get accurate answers. So this is my 2 cents, and I'm gonna probably make another video about those 2 calculators. Tip number 5, create a study plan. Make sure to make conscious decisions about the sequencing and the time you spend on each chapter. Here are some guidelines that I would apply for the exam. Number 1, after going through each chapter in the prep material, go to the question bank in the CFA Institute textbook and go through the questions. If you're getting less than 80%, go through the chapter again. Make sure that you nail down every single chapter and every single topic on the first try, because once you're done, it's really hard to go back and learn new things. It should be just memorization when you get to the end of the material. Tip number 2, study ethics last. Ethics doesn't require a lot of problem solving, which makes it mostly a memorization section. Most of your studying of the CFA will require for you to dissect and problem solve. I made this mistake. I studied ethics first, and I ended up having to study it twice. Number 3, after finishing all the chapters, I would go through as many questions as you possibly could. Go through all the mock exams, go through all the questions, make sure that you're getting a good mark. And honestly, this is the most satisfying part of studying. It was for me at least, because I saw my mark grow faster than a rumor grows on Facebook. I increased my score from like high 50s to mid 80s in like 3 weeks or something like that. Number 5, plan based on the stereotypical 300-hour study time. Now, when I say 300 hours, I mean quality hours. If you know that you get distracted with TikTok videos and Instagram, or, my guilty pleasure, for example, is cartoons. So when I was studying statistics, I got distracted by American Dad. And the F-Test and American Dad don't have a lot of overlap. So obviously the key here is practice, practice, practice. So just to quickly summarize the tips that I shared with you today. Number 1, start studying about 3 to 4 months ahead of time. Don't start studying too late, don't start studying too early. Both are not ideal. Number 2, get a prep course. The CFA Institute textbooks are just unusable for studying for those exams. Number 3, get a study buddy. The study buddy is going to help you by providing you with a tutor and by giving you the opportunity to tutor them. It also creates a little bit of a competition that will encourage the both of you to get ahead in the material. Number 4, get an advanced financial calculator and get really good at it because it's going to save you time on a lot of questions. Number 5, create a plan and follow it. And now for the advice that will make all the difference. Are you ready? Here it is. All this advice works best when you smash that like button, hit subscribe, and share this video with your friends. Also in the comments below, share any study hacks that you have for the CFA exam as well. Thank you for watching. See you next time.